Hey everybody, it is another wonderful morning in Growtopia. I've been up since 5 a.m., which is not a surprise for most people. Went to Home Depot and almost didn't happen. They didn't know if their computer systems were working. We saw from outside that a blue screen of death on one of their computers, and the guy at the door had no idea if anything was working. Then I ended up asking the cashier, and she had told me they were working. But before that, she'd asked me, "Oh, are you ready to check out?" I just walked through the door 30 seconds ago, you dumb idiot. So I said to her, I was like, well, I got to get a bunch of lumber. I don't want to get a bunch of lumber on a cart and then get to fucking checkout and the machines aren't working. And now what do? You're going to give it to me for free? Because I walked around the fucking store playing Marco Polo for lumber? No, all the machines are working. All right, fucking great. So after that, luckily we got wood. Now the reason why I wanted to tell you this video is because I basically just did a bang up deal. Because I'm making it out of wood, yes, the longevity of them are a lot shorter than the metal raised beds, but what I bought is a lot cheaper. Now remember, this is July of 24, so if anybody's watching this 5 years from now, it's probably going to cost you 30 times as much. So I would say it's a lot cheaper now than it will be, and it was a lot cheaper back then. So right now, it's not bad. At least I don't think it's bad. The reason why I'm saying I don't think it's bad because I want to show you guys what I'm doing today. It's going to be a lot of work, but it's going to be worth it, and I got a lot of shit to move, so I need a lot of room for everything. So first thing off, I'm going to work our way back to the truck. First off, I have a bed that's going to be running along here where the tomatoes are. That's going to be a 12-foot bed. That's going to have the tomatoes, it's going to have the peppers in it, and it's going to have the trellis set up just like this guy with the strings on it. After that, I have two other beds that I'm building. One here and one there. Between these guys here, there's three. This is going to be my melons and stuff. Anything that can go in there, like the melons. I think more or less melons by themselves, really. Maybe some carrots mixed in. I got to research what I could put with melons. Now, you could do melons on like chicken wire. So I looked up chicken wire on Home Depot, and they wanted like $200 for a giant roll of it. I'm like, I only need like 6 feet by 4 feet tall, 6 by 4, like 2 cuts. So I scratched that idea, and I said, you know what? I'm just going to let them run on the ground. So deal with that. One 12-foot bed, and I think it's 12 feet by 3 feet wide, and then these beds are 6 feet by 2 feet wide, and the wood's 10 inches tall. I figure 10 inches is a good number. So that's 3 beds right there. And then I'm putting an 8-foot bed here that's going to run from the raspberry towards the sprinkler. And that's going to be my brassicas, because right now we kind of have, if you notice when you look at the lawn, I don't know if the camera could really pick it up great. Make sure I got the camera facing it. There's a lot of shade here in the morning. And then midday, this whole area is lit. And then around, I think, 3 or 4 in the afternoon, basically from the little blinking guy that's supposed to keep things away but doesn't work, this whole area is shaded. And brassicas are anything your leafy greens, your lettuces, your kale. They like, to be in a partial shaded area in the summer. Because of the heats of the temperature. So you don't want them when it's like getting cooler out. You don't want them too much in the shade, but you don't want them in dead full sunlight like you want with your tomatoes and your corn. So with that being said, there's my 8-foot by 2-foot bed, I think. So obviously we ran the army truck out to Home Depot. Now all the big wood in here, not the stuff in the far corner. The stuff in the far corner, like these guys here, these little fuckers, these are 2x2s that I was calling 1x1s before. I don't know why. In my head that looks like 1 inches. That's just because sometimes I'm burnt from the sun or just not fully awake yet. So the 2x2s, and then this guy from the last project do not count. So all that lumber that's over there, plus a gallon of that linseed oil. So one of the things I realized I had an epiphany with. So being that you guys, I hope you guys are watching this and you are taking something from it. I'm not trying to be a jokester about it, but one thing you do is you learn from trial and error. This time around, instead of having a list written out that I could barely read, I printed out, I did a shopping cart's worth per job, per bed. So, a gallon of linseed oil, okay, get this one, right, is $35.96 for a gallon. Well, the quarts are $15. Now, you start doing the math there. There's 4 quarts in a gallon. So, if I was to buy 4 quarts of linseed oil to equal up to 1 gallon, that costs more than just buying the fucking gallon. So 1 gallon equals 4 quarts, and I averaged that just about every bed, or at least the 24-footer, needed 1 1/4 quarts. So I figured a gallon would be good. That's 4 quarts. That's 4 projects. Plus, I have a quart that I bought before. So instead of buying the quarts at a time, buy the freaking gallon for $35. You save so much fucking more money. This is for the melon bed. The melon bed, right? So this is for 2 melon beds. It needed 2 by 10 by 8 footers. I needed 4 boards to make 2 beds. That came out to $62 altogether. So $62.32. The reason why it was more money was because of the linseed oil, but if I just looked at just the cost of the lumber, which isn't on here conveniently, because it's a printout. Actually, it cost more than $62. It was right? 15. Yeah, so it was $62.32 just to make two 6-foot beds. Now, if you're looking at the metal beds online and you're looking at them, they're averaging between $100 to $300, and they're tall. I want 10 inches so that my sprinklers can get in them, and I don't have to worry about anything else. Plus, it's a lot easier to make, and I'm not lugging around all this big metal. And with the wood, you can do a lot with it. You can stain it different colors. You don't have to just do the linseed. You can put different stains on it. Just make sure whatever you're using isn't going to get into your plants and hurt them. So that is that for that guy. Then I went down to make the 8-foot bed. And the 8-foot bed, unfortunately, I'm going to have a little leftover wood, but that's fine. I bought 2 by 10 by 8 footers. 3 of those to make the 1 8-foot bed. That was it. And that was $46 just to make the 8-foot bed. 8 foot by 2 foot by 10 inches tall, $46. Still a lot cheaper than buying a raised fancy bed. Now for the 12-foot bed, it's a lot more involved in it. The 12-foot bed, I needed, because with the 12-foot bed, we're doing the trellis, right? So I ended up getting 3 2x4 by 8s, 1 2x4 by 12, 2 by 10 by 12s, and 2 by 10 by 8s. I had a brain fart for a second. So what am I trying to get to you guys here? My grand total was $261 for everything. That's 4 beds. That's 2 6-foot beds, 1 8-foot bed, and 1 12-foot bed. You can't beat it, And I have my little drawing out here. The 6-foot bed is 6 feet by 2 feet. So I only needed two pieces of lumber for that. I only needed 2 by 10 by 8s, because 6 foot, right? You cut 6 foot off of the 8-footer of 1 plank. You got 2 feet left over. That's the width of your bed. So 1 plank did the length and partial in the width. Then the other plank does the other length and the partial of the width, or the other part of the width. So now 2 planks of wood just made your bed for $46. Come on, this is disgusting. And you look online for a 6-foot bed, and they want like $300. Galvanized steel with reinforced hardware. Eat it. The 12-foot bed. There's going to be 2 feet waste from that because the sides are 3 feet. But yeah, there's like 2 feet left over. but I could always put that 2-footer into something. So, the 8-foot bed, I was looking at 8 feet by 4 feet. I was playing around with the dimensions of it and stuff. So now the first fun activity, and I had to load everything into my army truck. Why do I bring it in my backyard? Well, let's run down everything. We have our schematics. We have that paperwork to tell you. We have our cooler full of water and drinks. We have our screws. We have our battery. We have our drivs. We have our clamps. We have our strings. We have our Bluetooth speaker, because I can't listen to myself think or talk anymore. Rags and stuff that I need. We have our lumber. We have our chop saw. We have our linseed oil. We have our wheel ramps that I actually use as a horse, because the last time I bought a horse, yes, it was plastic, and yes, it was cheap and looked like Fisher Price. It barely held a 2x4 before it just went and broke. It literally just bowed out. I threw it by the curb, and somebody's like, "You're throwing this away?" I'm like, "Yeah, you can have it. I don't want it." It pissed me off too many times. Shit fell, stuff got fucked up. So once that happens, I get aggravated. You're going to the trash. The wheel ramps work the best because they're in the garage already, and they're taking up room, and I use them for I don't use them on the army truck, but I use them on my red Chevy that's low, so I can bring the front up to get my fat ass under it to do an oil change. That's really about it. So right now I got to start pulling out the lumber, covering it in linseed oil, which is really simple. It's just, always put gloves on when you're doing anything like this, because it's not that it's poisonous or anything. It's just for me, it's like oily and it smells after a while, and you get sticky from it. So I coat it with linseed oil. I wipe it down. I'm going to stack the wood in the piles of wet bed on my lovely slanted concrete patio, and I'm just going to stack them in the piles of what they're for, what projects they're for, and that's where that paper comes in handy. Anyway, guys, like, subscribe, share it with your friends and family. I hope you guys got something out of this. And look, I'm making 4 beds for $261 versus 1 bed for $300. And you got to remember, too, you got to get the soil and stuff. So that's why it's great that it's only $200 and change for the beds, because now when I have to go and get the soil and stuff, it might be $200 as well. But that depends. I still have to burn the grass down with my weed whacker. I want to run my tiller through there and churn up the ground. A lot of the stuff we're transplanting, like the pepper and the tomato plants, they have full of soil. I have soil in one of my garbage pails that I put in. That's my compost pile, but I put a lot of soil in there to store it. I got my little orange planters with stuff that have to get moved. There's soil in them as well. So I'm not going to go and buy soil until I know that I need to. Because if you start buying stuff ahead of time, you're screwed. This stuff was all designed out, so I knew exactly what lumber I needed. And that was a lot of yesterday afternoon going back and forth. And the best thing about going to Home Depot in the morning, early morning, even though it sucks sometimes, is you get in and out. And they open up at 6, and I was back home at 6:45. And this monster does 35. That's what I travel at, especially when I got wood in the back. I'm not looking to get anywhere quick with this truck. I just love driving it. Anyway, guys, like, subscribe, share it with your friends and family. I hope you guys got something out of it. Like, comment below, and get out there and grow. This is Mike from Growtopia.